You probably didn't notice, but many independent game developers have been gravitating towards the Godot game engine lately, especially after some turmoil with Unity's licensing, which you've probably heard of. In 2023, Unity announced a controversial new runtime fee, essentially a charge for every game to install, which dropped like a bomb on the game development community. This surprise was met with anger from the game developers, who suddenly feared they would owe money every time a player installed their game. The backlash was swift and loud, and it prompted a lot of indies to reconsider their tools. So many began looking for alternative engines, and Godot quickly emerged as a favorite. But is this really the reason, or at least is it the only one? To understand this shift, it helps to know how Unity upset its users. Imagine spending years making a game, only to be told you will owe extra fees whenever someone downloads it. Even reinstalls counted. That's what Unity proposed, and developers felt sucker punched. The policy would even apply retroactively to games already released, which came off as a betrayal of trust. Unity essentially changed the rules mid-game, breaking a long-standing promise of no runtime fees. One indie studio wrote that Unity's sudden change betrayed their users, and that sticking with Unity now felt too risky, even after Unity eventually walked back the fee plan. But the damage was done. Many developers had lost confidence, fearing the company might pull a stunt like this again. Faced with this frustration, a wave of developers announced they would abandon Unity, for other engines that is, and a huge number set their sights on Godot. A big reason Godot looks so attractive is its pricing actually, or lack of thereof. Godot is completely free and open source, with no royalties or subscription costs whatsoever. The engine is released under the Almighty license, so developers can use it commercially without ever owning a cent, which means no hidden fees down the line. You see, in contrast with Unity's corporate model, Godot isn't controlled by a single company at all. It's maintained by a community of developers and a non-profit foundation. This means there is no CEO who might suddenly change the terms on a whim. Developers find that super reassuring after the Unity saga. They know Godot's rules won't suddenly flip overnight, and they have full access to the engine's source code if they ever wanted to inspect or even modify it. Beyond pricing, indie developers often talk about how easy Godot is to use. The engine is frequently praised for its beginner-friendly design. It has a clean and straightforward interface, and uses a scripting language called GDScript, which has a Python-like syntax, and it is very accessible for newcomers. The interesting thing is that the developers coming from Unity are often surprised at how quickly they can get comfortable in Godot. One developer recounted that after switching, they were reassured by Godot's ease of use. In fact, they managed to rebuild the basics of their game in Godot with only about 3 days of learning. Unity, on the other hand, is powerful, but can feel more complex and heavy to learn for a newbie. Unity uses C# on a ton of features, which is great for big projects, but can be an overkill when you are starting out. So it has a steeper learning curve in comparison. This is not always the case, but many hobbyists find Godot more approachable, especially for smaller projects or game jams, where you want to dive in and start creating without wading through menus and settings. Godot is also very lightweight. The download is only around 100 megabytes, and it can run smoothly on modest PCs. I also want to mention the engine's node-based architecture, which makes organizing game scenes intuitive, and you can tailor or extend the editor as much as you like with plugins or even by tweaking the source. It handles 2D games exceptionally well. I mean, 2D is a first-class citizen in Godot, and its 3D capabilities have grown by leaps and bounds in recent years. Unity still had the edge in high-end 3D graphics and VR. It is a more mature engine for cutting-edge stuff, but the bread and butter indie projects, things like pixel art platformers, top-down adventures, simple 3D explorations, and so on. In this case, Godot's feature set is more than enough. With the release of Godot 4 and beyond in 2023, the engine even introduced major improvements like a new rendering engine, which became Vulkan-based. This, in addition to better 3D performance, closing much of the gap between Godot and Unity. And there you have it, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, please subscribe to the channel to receive more videos like this. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.